as explicitly that like TSM not being there is a problem.
I will say today they did a bad faith move. I'm just gonna say that. They
Ooh.
put it in the Discord and they tweeted it, "We're back." And then they posted a graphic that they're back in Rocket League. So they tweeted we're back without any like other words.
And
And then
everybody
the
just
graphic says in Rocket League. So everyone in the Discord was just spamming the post with the cloud emoji.
wow.
Like, whatever, dude, who cares? People were putting LOL, like spelling it out with the emotes and stuff, and putting stuff like that. Like, good for the Rocket League people. I'm glad they have a job,
Yeah, I mean,
I
hey, by
guess.
all means, great for
But
them. But like your core audience that built you up as a brand is just
yeah,
sitting there fucking crying.
yeah, they're like, really? We're a week in, basically, to every, like, the last major region has played a full week now, and they haven't even spoken to anybody. I know this isn't a TSM podcast, but
Hey,
like,
we can talk
they're
about whatever
so
the hell we
annoying.
want. If you want, like,
They're so annoying. I just feel like they're running it down, dude. Like they're so annoying. But
I would have thought so too, but I,
ugh,
I guess not. Like, and the question I'm gonna have is like, when it comes time, like whenever they finally do get a team, assuming they do, have they burnt too many bridges at this point already, or will people still tune in because it's TSM?
I think I think they're in a weird spot where it's like there's not a lot of fans there. Like if you, although in general Reddit, I guess League of Legends wise has been dying down and
Slowly,
esports
yeah.
wise, but their Reddit subreddit is almost like dead. It's absolutely awful now outside of the Apex posts. And then I don't know. Their Twitter is doing fine. It pops off because of Apex and Leffen, but they're definitely not even close to the numbers they used to get. I don't think they have that many fans around. The fans that they did have probably most moved on to other teams. Like I've picked another team, so now I'll have two teams in the League of Legends space, kinda, but also a year break from cheering for your team kind of pisses you off, especially when they don't talk to you.
Yep.
So it's like I don't even know what to do. Like I don't want to stop cheering for him because I'm a diehard. Like it's just how it is. But it's at that same point where you're like, they're gonna have to like apologize a little bit, and if they refuse to apologize, then I'm just gonna treat them like Dan Snyder, like Commanders fans treated him. Just be like, hey, you guys suck, but I like this team. Like you can stop whatever you're saying. Like good for you, I guess, but I'm only here for the team. I'm not here for any of you. Like, no, Rico, I'm now an NRG fan
He
for
legitimately is.
LCS and I guess League in general, really. Like, esports in general. Like,
I mean, it's not like you got another team elsewhere at the moment,
yeah,
so
I don't. So, I had to pick a team. I couldn't just sit there and not pick a team at all for a whole year. Like,
you could have been an Immortals fan. You could have been 0
yeah,
2.
yeah. No, that is true, and should probably kick it off and get us rolling. So everybody can 110, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, everyone, welcome formally to the Crossover Podcast, episode 110. I am the constant co host, Paul, and we have Dave here as well, your constant host and channel owner slash League of Legends celebrity slash
Whoa.
content creator.
Let's not go league celebrity route. And two, if you
All
were to
right.
actually create a YouTube channel, this could sit on yours.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
could.
that's true.
You just got to create
Yeah,
content.
that's a good point. That's a good point. But yeah, today is a solemn day for some, especially me, because my team, former team, I guess, sucks. But it's also a good weekend because my new team is 1-1. Really, everyone in here's team is 1-1.
We are. And we play each
So
other next Saturday. Well, this
we
Saturday.
do,
So it's a little bit
and
intimidating.
you're lucky. I'm gonna be. You're so lucky. I have to drill. You
Oh,
are
I
so
was about to
lucky.
ask if you'd be able to watch it in live view. But I guess you won't because you're a
I
drill.
don't know because the way this drill is looking, I don't know how busy we'll be or not. So if I get a chance to, I'll definitely like hop in, but more than likely I'm gonna say no.
I mean, that's fine. I'm gonna be live
But
the entire time now. Now that I got
you know,
official approval that we're allowed to do the interviews live on stream, which I didn't think we'd be allowed to do because I thought that would like take away from the broadcast. And the same with like NACL is not allowed to,
mhm,
live or like show their thing. But I guess that's direct gameplay, whereas like interviews are
yeah,
like supplemental. I guess is like their way of viewing it. But regardless,
that makes sense.
I'm gonna be doing all the interviews live on stream. I'm still only ever gonna request them for the final 2 games of the day, never the first two. Uh, and that'll pretty much be it. But yeah, the
Mhm.
Energy 100 Thieves one should be fun. Are we first game of the day or last game?
Second,
Oh, we're the prime match of the week
yeah, yeah.
because I think 100 Thieves has the final game on Sunday. That's why I wasn't sure.
No, they had the
Oh
first
no, we
game
got
on
the first game.
Sunday.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
yeah. What do you know?
Energy does not. Well, now at least, from what we know now, Energy does not have the easiest week. They have 100 Thieves and Flyquest, so
I don't think this was ever going to be an easy week for you. I don't think anybody ever assumed that.
well, you guys, like a lot of people probably
Fuck
are
off.
surprised. I know you're mad at me, but you know it's the truth.
It's not the truth.
Okay, all
We had
right.
no clue what to we had no clue what to expect with a team full of rookies. In the same way that Immortals could have popped off and went 2-0 this week, and people would have been like, damn, imports come in and they look good at the start. Sure. Instead, they're 0-2. And everybody's bagging on Immortals in the same way that they were before. And like Charlie, if you're in chat, you're gonna want to cover your ears today. It ain't gonna be a pretty one.
Gosh, you're just going after him. But that does pull us in somewhere in the realm of where we wanted to go talking. And it helps us open up with, are you convinced anyone actually can stand up to C9 in
No,
spring? At least
no. Or nor
I'm
summer.
not really
Nor
either.
summer. I'm calling it now. I want to believe the words that Croissant and I talked to Apollo. He'll have a spot in the pit tomorrow, or well,
Hmm.
sorry, Friday, uh, where he talks a little bit about like where things are building towards. I asked him to assign a letter grade to his bot lane this weekend, and he kind of looked at me as if I'd asked like a really difficult question, which I didn't
Mhm.
think that was that like spicy of a question. Just saying like give your bot lane a grade from this past weekend, but sure. Uh,
Oh, okay.
I don't think anybody stands a chance.
Did Apollo not even rank him?
No, he did. He gave him a grade at the end, but he
Oh,
was just a
okay.
little off put by the question at first. That I was like, I didn't think that was that deep
I
of a
guess
question.
all I can think of is maybe he thought of it as like they do a grade or a scale system. You know what I mean? After
Yeah,
weekends in
I might have
debrief.
been prying into
So
something
maybe
that
he was sitting there going like, "Am I allowed to say my what I gave them? Should I lie a little bit? What should I do here?"
do we bump FBI up a point even though they
Yeah.
didn't get a good enough lead in game one? No, I don't.
Yeah.
Do you think FlyQuest actually stands a chance against them or no?
I mean, I think Fly looks probably the most primed right now. But my only thing with FlyQuest is they're like they've kind of been starting to become that same as C9 idea in summer, except they do it both splits. Like they're a falter as time goes on type of team. I
Yeah,
know they had the one year, that was 2020, right? Where they
yeah.
went to 2 finals.
Where
But it's been a minute.
Solo was the finalist
Yeah.
both those times, which is wild.
And I mean they had a crazy team. PoE, Santorin, and Solo. Like you're talking about three dudes who I think nobody in 2020 would have said, yeah, this team's gonna make 2 back-to-back finals. I mean, but since then they've kind of been a falter out the more time goes on. Now this is a really good lineup, and they looked about as good as we thought they'd be. And that gamingist NRG, I think, is gonna tell a lot of where they're at
Yeah,
realistically.
I agree. I think that's probably going to be your second, third place matchup for now, because I don't think NRG looked all that clean. Granted, they got a win against Dig, but even
Oh,
then,
yeah.
they like nearly threw it.
Yep.
So I'm not like I think it's just gonna take you guys time. I'm still not worried about your bot
Yeah.
or about like anybody on your team
No.
bouncing back. I do think like if 100 Thieves is going to upset you, now's the time where that could happen.
Yeah.
We'll see, maybe, but I don't know. I want to believe that somebody will step up and challenge Cloud9. I really do.
Mhm.
But as of right now, like they've played 2 days where it's just like we're gonna pick to smash you early,
Yeah.
and you ain't gonna be able to do a thing about it.
Which I'm not too worried as an energy fan. Like, I think we're gonna be fine because listening to the Palafox interview from your video and him going like, "Yeah, I wasn't really playing the game. We're kind of taking our time into this because we know burnout is a real thing, and we played a lot last year, longer than any of them really have.
So
Like,
you're,
if you think about it on CLG,
so you're telling
what?
me that they probably don't have 12-hour guarantee work clauses in their contracts?
No, I don't think they did that in the off season. I think they took off a lot more time than other people, and I think they were honestly not. I don't want to say they weren't hungry or they aren't hungry right now, but I definitely think they got done with all of that and went, "Wow, we accomplished like the best most of us have done in our career. Like, let's take a minute and relax in this and
Yeah,
enjoy the moment a little bit." And I think that's definitely what they did.
which they
And
deserve.
yeah, for sure. But then to see Pally or Pala kind of come out and pop off, I ain't gonna lie, both games I wasn't disappointed by him. I think he was fine. Like, obviously, the first C9 game was whatever, the whole team was getting curb stomped, but game two, he was like holding the whole thing down.
Yeah.
So I was pretty happy with him, and mid laner is really all that matters.
Is that
Like,
your new nickname for him, Pally?
I mean, Pal Faker, right?
How
Isn't
do you
that his
get
nickname?
Pally at the end
I
of
didn't
that?
mean to call him Pally.
Well, you
I
did.
was
Is that your?
I
But
messed
is
up
that your?
because of Halliburton.
You got a little baby nickname for him already?
Yeah.
Man,
No, it was
you're adapting to the
Pally.
fan base quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
No, I messed up because of Halliburton. I'm so used to saying Hallie all the time that I tried to put a P in there and add an A, and it just didn't work in my brain. But
Sure.
hey, you can't blame me. Pacers basketball is legit right now, except it's not because they've
They,
been losing a lot.
they
But
are. Or it could have been you could have been thinking of Pala World, the Pokemon rip or not rip off, but like
I've never
Pokemon.
played Pokemon.
Then that
Sorry.
I'm not even gonna go down that conversation rabbit hole. Then never mind. You don't even know the drama that's going on
No,
right now. You have no
nope,
idea. Wow.
nope. Yeah, but other than that, our bottom lane looked kind of troll. So
Oh.
that is what it is. I'm about to read it.
Oh.
Saying
Go
they're
ahead.
lucky the roster had one good year after two or three together. I think it's more likely they get fourth, fifth, and second. Well, one, they replaced the bottom lane that sucked. Like their bottom lane was clearly the worst part of the
Yeah,
team.
Luger Poem needed work.
Yeah, and two, they were fifth last year after regular season, so they could get fit this year, and then in everyone else's words but ours, get lucky again, and everyone will just go, "How'd it happen? I don't know what's going on."
I like okay, here's my biggest problem with that. I think a lot of
Mhm.
people they misunderstand getting lucky for getting hot at the right time.
Yep.
They got hot at the right time when the meta suited them and
Mhm.
Cloud9 cooled off. Like that's not luck. Like if you're like to me if you're lucky, that is that is by nature of like a bunch of random shit going your way that really shouldn't go your way. But there's
Yeah.
no denying that they earned it. If you want to fault anybody, like what I don't get about this is people use it negatively upon NRG, but just almost like absolve Cloud9 of their sin on that. It's like it's always against NRG rather than against Cloud9. Like nobody's looking at
Yeah.
Cloud9 right now and being like, well, hey, they got complacent last year and MNS fell off a cliff. Like that like they're the ones with the burden to prove, not NRG. Which I by
Yeah.
all means I do get, and I generally agree that I think that in a world where everybody doesn't fall off, NRG is the fourth best team, third or fourth best team in the region. I think that's fair. But you can't do anything about that. And I'm not a big fan of calling that luck. Because it's not. You want to get pissed at anybody? Get pissed at fucking Cloud9. And it's just like I don't know.
Well, it's also they we've had a lot of loser bracket runs since Double Elam has come in. Like,
Yep.
it's getting hot is not a joke in playoffs. Like, you can be a fifth seed in playoffs and get hot in league, and it's pretty consistent that a fifth seed or a fourth seed or a third seed can figure it out and put it together. And the top two who dominated all year, one of them still makes it to the finals, but they just are so rusty that by the time they get out there, they lose. And like getting all those stage games, getting comfy and getting confident isn't a joke. Like once you get confident, you're just good to go.
Yeah.
And it really helps a lot. Like I know people say, "Oh, you can blow your strategies, you can blow this and that." But if you're just playing better than them because you feel good on stage, it doesn't really matter what you showed them.
Exactly.
You're just popping off.
There was something that Monty said earlier today that I want to get your thoughts on. He said, in a healthy LCS world, NRG never finishes above fourth given the sum of their pieces. Because talent actually goes to the top teams, consolidates in a way in the way that it should, and people don't underperform and drop the ball as the region consistently has. In his eyes, like it would be a bad thing now for NRG to finish second again. Rather, he wants to see them finish fourth and see these players that have this high mechanical skill or high mechanical ceiling that have never seemingly been able to hit it actually get there. I think in his world, he would want to see probably Flyquest step up to take that number 2 spot as of right now.
I'll see more, yeah, the young and bustling FlyQuest roster with 3 old dudes on it.
Well, to be fair, I will give credit to Inspired. Inspired should be still one of the best junglers in the league.
Yeah, he should.
Like that,
and he
that
is.
I will give it credit for.
Like, I just don't understand. Like, I also don't get, like, so G2 shouldn't keep winning EU because G2 lost NRG, so by
No,
that same.
I get what he's trying to say
I
in
get it.
theory of like you want somebody to push Cloud9. You don't want to see
Yeah.
Cloud9 fall off. And I get that sentiment and I do agree with that portion of it. However, I want to see NRG continue to grow and level up. I want to
Yeah.
see NRG continue to be like in my eyes, I want them to be second the split because FlyQuest is also good and Team Liquid fixes their problems. And one like we're only down to 8 teams, which sucks. So that point kind of goes out the window. Or like 100 Thieves, for example, steps up and the rookies, develop fairly quick. And like you look at a squad then that like if they're continuously improving, like then they're a threat as time goes on. I get that point because I do want to see NRG prove it to everybody else. That it wasn't just a fluke, that they legitimately do have this high of a ceiling.
Yeah.
It's just
I just don't understand the point of like mechanically you want these other teams to play their ceiling because like what mechanical level does he think that they're going to reach that NRG didn't?
He didn't
last year.
He just doesn't think that like Dokla should ever like be a top 1-2 top laner in the league. Which to be fair is an opinion that you've had.
Yeah. Which to be fair to me, and I think not enough people say this, they were CLG before they became NRG. And when I was hating on all of them, they were like literally the biggest rival of my team.
Biggest rival that wasn't a rival in such a long period of time. That's CLG.
Yeah, but I still hated them.
Sure, but like their competitive side of that rivalry died in like 2017.
It did, but it didn't die for TSM fans. Beating them at more than anything else. It just did.
I mean, that's fair. I'm
every
not
year.
like rivalries
Yeah.
are rivalries. Same thing with like me and Team Liquid, because fucking APA's mom was in the comments of my video today, and she's like, "Oh, she said something along the lines of like, we gave you guys one. We're out for revenge next time." I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
you pick your poison on that one. You go right ahead." By the way, shout out to APA's parents. Like,
Yeah,
regardless
that
of
is
how you
pretty
feel
sick.
about APA as a player, whether you think that he's overrated or not, his parents are fucking baller. And they're always around in comments on Twitter. Like, anytime that their son is talked about, they are there and
Hmm.
commenting and loud, and it is great. And I wish we had more parents like that could lead by example, because they're two of the best to do it.
Hmm.
But
They
their
are
son
really
their son
cool.
did get fucking booty cheek clapped by uh Quid. So take that for what it's worth.
Oh my god. But they,
Not my
I
fault
mean,
your son decided to face
realistically,
check with Ziggs. That's on him.
right now it is like it's week one, so of course, like we can only make so many
I
assumptions and we
know.
can only
I
say
know.
so much. But at the same time, it's like I didn't watch this week and go like, "Oh man, we're screwed, dude. I don't know if we can do it." Like I watched this week and went, "Okay, I think in a Hundred Thieves is better than most people thought, and where I thought they would be. I think River's really good at the game.
Yeah.
Ayla looks way more confident than people thought he'd be. And then you look at TL. I think TL's not exactly as strong as I thought they'd be.
I
If
think
I'm
they're
being
I think they're right about where I thought they were. Which is
really,
they just have these games, these series where they just like don't have it together. And
hmm,
then they come back the next day and all of those issues are gone. Where it's like
yeah,
Team Liquid is a team where I feel like they would really, really benefit from best of threes.
hmm,
Like, I think they'd be one of the better best of three teams early on that we would have in the league.
I can see that.
But there's so many worlds where like APA runs it down on a game,
Yeah,
and it is what it, and that's one game gone. But if it was a best of three, he bounces back, the whole
yeah,
team bounces back, and like I think they fix like in a best of three. I'll be honest, I don't think we beat Team Liquid
hmm,
because we nearly lost game one. So I don't think we get the Cheese Seraphine comp in a best of three again. Like I think they ban out Seraphine, and then we're forced to win otherwise. And so far, like our drafting of picking three losing lanes in a Nocturne when we don't have Seraphine, 0 for 1 on that one. So
yeah.
I don't know. Like I just think I'd be really curious to know, and I've been more and more cognizant of this now with like keeping tabs more on the LCK and LPLs, like how much of these teams are actually good versus how much of this is a fluke.
Hmm. I mean, I do think uh Flyquest in general, they looked really good, right? Like, so people are really hyping them up and now saying they're clear cut number two. But like, they did play Shopify in Immortals. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like they played these like juggernauts, which Shopify does not
No.
look perfect. I'm not saying
Which,
that they
to be fair, we
stink
never
yet.
expected them to be perfect. Like,
Yeah,
like expectations for this week should have been that FlyQuest 2-0s. And they
yeah,
did.
for
They
sure,
did. They did exactly what they needed to do, which is
for
good.
sure.
You go into this week though, you've got Team Liquid and NRG. Shit
Yeah,
gets real very quickly now. Week 3 is
yeah,
not the test for FlyQuest. Like I know Rico just said that in chat. Week 3 for them is like 100 Thieves, C9, Dig. Now that ain't the test because you got 2 out of 3 games that you should win there. Your
mhm,
test is this week. These are the top. You are facing 2 of the top 4 teams as FlyQuest. That if you want to establish yourself as 1-2 with C9
mhm.
prior to going into that matchup, you have to win this. You have to win both
Yeah,
of these matchups. Otherwise, people are just like, I hate to say it, but like I need. Sorry for you guys. I need FlyQuest to 2-0 this week.
Yeah. No, for your point, it's true. Like, I'm not they very well could. Like, NRG is not looking like super up to snuff right now. And looks like they're gonna need some time to heat up. And I know that sounds like an excuse, but I
It's
mean it
not
is
though.
what it
It's
is.
fine.
It's a 8-team league. I think NRG is very realistic in the idea that we have no qualms with just getting in playoffs because 6 teams get in
Yep.
and going from there. We feel comfortable in best of fives. And if you're Flyquest and you want to make a statement, then this is the time to do it, especially right now when you have 3 guys coming off of not playing last year. So they're all very motivated, probably not very burnt out. Have refound, well, no, Jensen played, my bad, but
But he didn't make it to
playing for
Worlds.
J.
So they
Yeah, I was gonna
like the
say,
entire like they had time to rest and then just
yeah,
go into the off season like closer to Christmas and boot camp and prep
yeah,
and just be ready. Whereas NRG, Palafox said, he played what 5-6 games at most
yep,
prior to media day. So it's like, yeah, it makes sense that FlyQuest should be towards the top early on.
yeah. And it's gonna be this way in an 8-team league. Like, there's gonna be almost every week is gonna be super competitive. Week 1 for them was actually the rarity because in the 8-team league, the talent consolidation in NA right now is crazy.
Agreed.
Like, it's just gonna be insane. I mean, Licorice isn't even on a team.
He should go to KCorp, but we'll save that.
Yeah.
Uh, Let me ask you this though. Like, despite the consolidation, despite everything else,
Mhm.
this is a two-part question. One, do you think Cloud9 goes undefeated this season in regular season?
I do. Yeah.
You think they go 14-0? You don't think they drop a single game?
Yeah.
Then that defeats the purpose of my second question.
Why?
My
What is
second my
it?
second question was I figured you were gonna say no. They were gonna go like 13-1, 12-2, something like that. My question was gonna be if it was best of threes, do you think they would go undefeated? Being allowed to
Oh, like
drop
not.
a game within series, but not lose the series.
No, they wouldn't go undefeated in best of. Well, they would go undefeated in best of threes. They wouldn't go win every game
Yeah,
in all
but
those
that's my
best of
point. If
threes.
you have
Yeah.
you have the flexibility to drop a game without
Yeah.
dropping the
Yeah.
series. So like
Yeah.
statistically, I think they are more likely to go undefeated in that. And I think they would if we were in
Mhm.
that system. But
I
I don't think they go 14-0 in best of ones. There's no way. We're on live
I
patch.
think
Somebody's going to have something and throw them off.
well, I think in spring, hands can win you a title. It's just how it's been in historically in LCS. But in summer, the best team actually wins the title. That's usually how it goes.
Fair.
Like, now people will say, "Oh, but all these collapses, blah blah blah." What 20 TSM is an outlier to that? Like, if we're really thinking about it,
Yep.
and a lot of teams do repeat. But in spring, hands diff can definitely win you a title. In summer, you've had so much time to understand the meta, play the game, grind it out, that you're at a point where, assuming you've survived the burnout, you fought through a lot of teams
Yeah.
to get to where you're at.
Question.
Yeah.
This is a throwback one related to that. Uh who recently has been the closest to a perfect season?
Wouldn't it be
I have the answer.
wouldn't it be C9?
When?
2020, right?
Correct.
Spring?
C9 2020 dropped 2 games all year. One in the playoffs to Evil Geniuses. They dropped
Okay.
1 game there, but then they 3-0'd 100 Thieves and 3-0'd Flyquest. They dropped one single game in their 18 games in the regular season. Who was the team that beat them?
Probably TSM.
Bingo. It was TSM that beat them. That
It
gave them their
was.
one loss.
Yeah. I mean, and I know that sounds super, the way I said that sounds like I'm hating on C9, and I'm not. Like, I'm not, because I know they win a lot of spring titles, so I know all these C9 people are going to come at me, but that's not what I meant by it. I just mean in summer, there's a lot of grinding that happens, and there's a lot of meta shifts, and if you've survived it all, then in my eyes, you are probably the best team for the year. And it goes along with Worlds. You're not going to call the MSI champion the best team of the year. You remember the world's champion. So
Yeah.
summer splits just mattered more.
I
It's just
think
kind of how it is.
I think for now, but I think that's changing as time goes on slowly.
Good, yeah.
I think
It
like
could.
people are remembering MSI more and more, especially as the Golden
True.
Road becomes more relevant as they put more weight on MSI in terms of seeding for Worlds. Uh, I think it's important that more tournaments become relevant like that, but I just
And the banners still count.
yeah.
The banners still count. And speaking of banners,
Oh boy.
which Koreans have a lot of, we need to talk about Jensen's comments on the pros.
I need your thoughts because I put mine out there.
Yep, I know you have. You put a lot of them out there. I
What's with the
loved that
whoa
segment.
whoa
No, I'm just saying
going at
you
me?
are if a show comes out, your office reaction threads and your responses to them are quick, bro. You're on the
That no okay yeah.
you're on top of it.
I thought that was like the he doesn't shut up angle. I was like, whoa, you're
No,
right. You're
that's not
right.
what I was
Like
saying.
you are not wrong, but
we're going to war over here. I'm just trying to survive the podcast to get back to my 4K Disney fog videos. But
what?
there was recently fog in Florida. So there's a bunch of videos that were uploaded of dudes walking around Disney World in 4K with
Bro,
fog.
that's a level of Disney adult that even I've never heard of. And
Oh,
I
I
work for
love
the goddamn
watching
company.
that.
What?
Yeah, I love watching that stuff.
What? I'm fair warning. I'm telling that to the people in the office tomorrow. Did you know?
can't.
Did you know that there's a subsection of people that like Disney that are literally watching fog videos of the park?
Yeah, you watch people walk around. Like you've never seen a park walkthrough video?
No, I did a city walkthrough one of New
Okay.
York purely because we weren't able to move, like we weren't able to come up here and check out the different neighborhoods that we wanted to potentially move into.
Mhm.
So like I use those as a reference of like I want to know what the neighborhood looks like everything else like that. But I've never like casually been like I want to know what the park that I know from top to bottom already looks like with fog in it.
Yeah, that's what I watch. I mean, I watch them in the rain. I watch them walking around just normal. I watch them all the time. But
Okay,
dude, it's good background music.
Mute.
Yeah, the music in the park
Sure.
mixed with
Okay,
the crowd.
I will
Yeah,
give you
yeah.
that. Yes, I will give you that.
But my bad. Back to this.
No, I derailed us. That's on me.
Fair enough. That Jensen stuff, dude, was so top notch. Especially XU. Like getting to hear from him. I actually kind of like the dude now, and I didn't even know who he was. So that was kind of sick. But the Jensen points were honestly pretty great for the modern era. Like him talking about the communication side of it, and then also XU might have got himself in a little trouble. I don't know within the team, but him saying like, "Yeah, there are times when I like am just hoping they understand what I'm saying."
If that
Probably
got him
don't.
in trouble, then that speaks even more to the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it didn't. I'm obviously just conjecturing, but if it did, like, you gotta hope it didn't, because that's a very interesting spot. Like for them to go, "Hey, they don't really know what I'm saying, and I'm playing jungle with a top and a mid, which is probably one of your more important roles for communication." And you're just sitting there like, "Well, I hope they caught that." And you're just going in.
Somewhere APA in the back room is like kicking and screaming and crying out of PTSD.
Yup. I mean, as long as they're not emoting each other, they're doing better than last year's TL. So
Wait until Dove's gonna come in and then leave at the end of the year and write a whole manifesto on how XU's comments at the beginning of the year inspired his mental decline as time would go on.
yes.
I would die of laughter, but no, look what Jensen said. First and foremost, that pros segment in general. Did I or did I not tell? I forget what interview I talked about this in last year. Whenever I was talking to some of the pros, but I remember telling them like, "Hey, you know what you guys should do when the LCS day is done, just all hop on a Discord call. Somebody
Yeah.
go live, everybody just hop on a call and just start chatting and
Yeah.
have fun with it. And that's basically what this is, but obviously
Yep.
scaled down. What I would love is I wish they would just expand the table to 9 seats and pick somebody from every team and just have them on there and just be like, go ahead, have fun.
Yep.
Because clearly Jensen like comes up with good topics that he wants to talk about without even being prompted. Chat didn't say
For real.
shit to bring that up. And he just immediately goes, you know what? Fuck them Korean imports. Seriously. What do they do? Like, I was like, oh,
Yeah, for real. Which was
I
crazy because him and Bjergsen were like the OGs of it. But then when he got into the down and dirty of the communication side, I was like, oh, I get his point now. Like, this makes 100% sense. Like,
the
that's
second
fair.
but when you like he couldn't have started that any better though by just saying that the Koreans aren't
Yes.
good anymore. It's like, oh dude, you caught Ashley Kang lacking. Like that was your first one. Like that domino fell and then everything else fell with it. Because once
Yep.
she says it and tweets about it at all, half of like I guarantee it's going on the Korean forums. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, oh man, is that spicy. But it like what he said was all true. Like there was if you
Mhm.
actually listen to the entire thing, what did he say that was wrong?
None of it really. And Dokla was even backing him up. Like, they asked Dokla, how was it when you played with Korean imports? He was like, well, when we had Arrow, we had this dude who just came off of a world's title that nobody could talk to. So it kind of made it really difficult. Like, none of us could talk to him. The communication was really low, but we knew he was super talented. So we weren't too worried. Or it wasn't Arrow, it was Crown, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was Crown who couldn't talk. He said Arrow had good English, but
Yep.
Crown didn't. And it's like when you have a guy who can't really communicate with you and you're playing a game that's pretty emotional in general and it's very intense, like what do you do?
I don't know.
Oh, Fudge and Blabber said they had that problem as well. I'm sure they did.
I would not doubt that they did. Oh, like
Yeah.
100%. Like
Yeah.
that's the I've never understood as of late why we don't value communication like that more.
Mhm.
Like it didn't make sense. And more importantly, like the personalities that you had coming over, like it is hard for fans to connect with Korean imports that come over and can't be featured in content because all the like you look at Team Liquid's content last year. It wasn't bad, but it also like there was a heavy reliance upon Whippo and like some of the content
Yep.
creators that spoke English because it's like you can't like people couldn't connect to the fans as much because the Korean players couldn't like when you're going through translation, it takes filming double the amount of time because you're explaining
Mhm.
everything as it's happening. And there's a whole other level of like feeling comfortable on camera to be able to like do all the things that you want to be able to do in a video that should come natural. Like the reason that I think Cloud9 content as of late has been like really good for me is because like you just have that natural banter that exists between some of the players. And they can just
Yep.
bounce when you can bounce off each other, that's what makes great content. Look at the sidemen. Like that's what like they just go like when you can go on these tangents and constantly, battle back and forth, that's when it gets fun. And
No, for real.
when you have a language barrier in there that's nothing against the individual people themselves, I'm sure they're great, but it makes it way more difficult.
Does. And it's kind of nice that they're just bringing it up on these. Like, honestly, next week, I hope they bring on some of the Koreans who speak good English and let them give kind of a, like, honestly, carry on the conversation
Yeah. Oh no,
and
I
let them
agree.
kind of give a point of view and maybe bring on a guy, like, with them who is maybe a European import, another one, and let him kind of talk about it too. Because the more they carry on these kinds of conversations and the more you learn, it
Yep.
just gets better. Like getting to listen to Dokla was cool for me, from my perspective, because I got to listen to him more and get to know him more in a more chilled setting. I mean, hearing Jensen just made me chuckle because I was like, dude, I love this guy and I've always thought he's pretty funny, but he's always been like just super competing with TSM, so I've had to kind of be against him. But he is super chill and he's hilarious to listen to.
assuming you have to do 3 different teams, I think you go Core JJ, Impact, Berserker.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
That would be incredible. And then you just like but the thing is like they're the 3 exceptions to the rule.
They are.
Like they're the people that like Jensen is not talking about when it comes to that. If you can have one player like either Castle or River or Quid or somebody like that that's like willing and able to go on that like does fit in that category that Jensen is like specifically talking about, then yeah, have them on. But if not, I think
Yeah.
having the 3 exceptions there and like picking their brain on like why it's different, like
Mhm.
why they're here different than what Jensen is specifically talking about.
Yeah. And you could do 2 of them with one of like the new guys, like you were saying, or a
Yeah.
European player. And it wouldn't hurt because it is interesting to hear them all talk and hear them all get their opinions. And I mean, FBI doesn't really, I guess, count as an import anymore. But the one of the weeks would be kind of funny if they brought in just FBI and Fudge and somebody else. Do we have other Aussies?
Yeah, we got Spooks.
Yes.
Bring in
Just start.
Spooks, FBI, Fudge, and just let them go at it, and just let the accents get so thick. It would be so funny. Oh,
I know it would be terrible to be segmenting things like this in all these nationalities. Isles, yeah.
Yeah,
You could
Isles
bring
as
on
well.
Isles. Like, it would be, but it would be fun, I think, to kind of listen to these guys talk with people from their culture. And it helps you kind of get that shooting the shit more. Like, it helps make people more comfortable. They're sitting there talking with their boys at this point, or people that they have a lot of cultural norms with. And that's never a bad thing to make people as comfortable as they can. And Jad obviously is doing a good job because he's got these dudes spilling.
Fucking kudos to Jack or Jab, by the way. Like
Yeah.
100%. Like led that conversation in a way that it flowed naturally, that he
Yep.
didn't cut anything off, which you tend to worry about with like, some of the broadcast stuff is like, oh, are they going to be sensitive to, certain topics that are going to be brought up, and it's like, no, he just let it fly. And
Yeah.
that is so good on him. Like I'm glad that he's taking the lead on content as Mark Z steps away. Because like Mark Z was incredibly good at the comedy, at the sketches, at all of the just all the elements of broadcast that were not like the deep dive analysis, even though he was obviously good at that too. Like it's good that he has a fundamental understanding of it. But in a world now where the LCS broadcast is more focused on getting to each game, doing the interviews, and we're now lacking that analytical content on the broadcast itself, people are going to be looking for that elsewhere. And he fills that niche of what we need in LCS content massively. And I'm so excited that he's kind of stepping up to fill those shoes. And yes, Ayla is Australian as well, I believe.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, you could do, dude. You have so many options. Like this is insane.
Is Bud Light still a sponsor of the LCS?
I don't know, to be honest. I have no idea.
Either way, we could shoot you a Red Bull.
Yeah. I mean, that would make more sense for gamers.
It would. I think
It would be way more funny.
Do shots of Red Bull.
Honestly, that kind of show is like so good. I don't know who thought of it in LCS, but that was so top notch. Like, also, it helps a lot with the fact that the desk is kind of down, or that we're not really getting a full fledged desk.
Yep.
I think having that at the end kind of does help with things, kind of feeds us in more. Because you can tell the league is doing its best to keep building the players. And I mean, people wanted player focused content. What's better than player focused than just teams playing games?
Yep.
About as player focused as it gets.
I do understand though, like some people, like not even some people, I think everybody agrees that like the broadcast itself is in a very good spot. there is worry about like Emily Rand, Raz, like all
Yep.
their jobs. Think about how much on-air time they have now. It is
Yeah.
minuscule compared to what it was before.
It is sad.
And that is going to be like they got to start doing more content elsewhere, like they got to start making a name for themselves. Like
Yeah.
that's going to be tough, and I feel really bad for them, but at the same time I would not trade the flow of the LCS broadcast right now. It is so nice getting between these games like that.
It is. It's really good. It has been tough without some mid segments because I enjoy listening to them talk about something.
Yeah.
Like after your team wins or loses, it's nice. But I just can't blame them because the last 3 years of their post segments has just been whichever team lost, just coming at their throats.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you want them to do at this point? Almost.
Yeah.
It's like
And
it is what it is.
Rico, this or that used to be on the at the end of the final day. I personally didn't think it felt good in that spot. I don't know. It just felt odd. This or that, at least for me, should have always been like a midweek thing. As of right now, it's not, not here. So we don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about, I know we talked a little bit about Flyquest, Cloud9, etc. Uh, who do you think is going to be last in the LCS now? Is it guaranteed to be Immortals?
Mm. I think I'll need one more week to really tell, but I feel very strongly that it's Shopify or Immortals at this point.
So Shopify plays Immortals on Saturday and then
Okay.
plays Cloud9, so guaranteed loss on Sunday. Uh,
Yep.
Immortals plays Shopify and Team Liquid.
Okay. Yep. I think Dig has shown enough life. They could be that sixth place team.
Yeah.
And I think the last fight is starting to come out between Immortals and SR, which I feel bad for Shopify to say that, but Dig did have signs of life, and you just can't ignore that. Like, they're not clean by any means,
Yeah.
and Dig has a clear road where they can go back down. I mean, obviously, any team can fall apart, but right now, I feel like when you watch them, it's probably still Immortals.
Here's my thing with
Immortals just looks gross.
here's my thing with Shopify. I think they've got some really good pieces to build upon. I love Insanity. I love how he plays the game. It is so much fun to watch and
Yeah,
it is interesting. Uh
yeah,
fake
interesting.
fake God is going to need to step up this week from what we were hearing about like him stomping in scrims. Uh wasn't stomping top lane. That's for sure. But then also Wild Turtle was also just filling in and wasn't even planning to like play competitively this split. So
Yep.
I don't like the problem is you're also running into a situation where it's like Insanity all over again from last year, where you have visa issues and it's like, okay, well, if B-Voy comes in, like, are you messing with team chemistry and like is this impacting it even more? Like, are you throwing a curveball into an already short split that could really screw them?
Yeah. And it also makes you wonder, like, exactly what Rico put. Like, what is the leash on Fake God with Licorice just sitting at home right now?
Yeah.
Like, it can't be very long. I'm sure there is something moving where Shopify is like, yeah, we messed up. Move on. Because Fake God doesn't look terrible, but he definitely doesn't look. I just think he's one of those guys who he can keep winning tier 2, but tier 1,
The
especially with what we've already talked about, you'll make the talent pool smaller, just keeps getting harder, and I don't think he can live up to it.
the Tim Tebow effect.
It is.
People called me crazy for making
They
that
did.
comparison beforehand. I got roasted in the pit of people or of some comments being like, "That's not fair to him." And I was like, "We'll see.
I mean,
We'll see.
yeah,
I don't
he's tier
know."
2 god who just goes to tier 1 and
Some
it
would
looks
say
ugly.
he's a fake god in the LCS.
Oh my gosh.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't
You're
know.
probably feeling so good about that.
I was. I just wish it was best of 3 so I could have a better indication. It's impossible to say with 2 games and only 2 games. I feel bad making any like preconceived
Yeah.
judgments on anybody.
At least we'll know. The good news is we'll know in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like in 2 weeks, we'll be halfway through this split. That's halfway through your opportunity to prove to us what you are. And if Shopify still looks just awful after all of this, I think it's fair to just say, yeah, you need to make some changes. Like honestly, Wild Turtle didn't look terrible, which
Yeah.
kind of surprised me. He looked pretty fine. But
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to make a prediction right now.
mhm.
I think you're going to see teams keep their same roster through the first 4 weeks, no matter what. Other than like
Okay.
TSM swapping in B-Boy, because once he gets here, he gets the starting spot.
It's
And I've already.
Shopify.
Did I say TSM?
Yeah.
Yeah, Shopify. Uh, Shopify will put in B-Boy. I'm going to call now that if Shopify or Immortals are bottom 2 and at risk of missing playoffs, don't forget
Mhm.
you have a 2-week break after week 4, which still the dumbest thing ever. Riot, please put something in this period. Do not let it be nothing, for fuck's sake. One of them will sign Licorice. Because in those final 2 weeks, you have 5 games, and you get 2 weeks of practice. You go. Now, I agree with Nox in chat. If I'm Licorice, I'm sure as fuck not signing to Immortals. Not happening.
Yeah.
At this point, like your value is high enough. I think Shopify has a roster that is I just feel like that's a roster that can click.
Okay, well, let's say you're Immortals. And who do they have at Jungle again?
It's Armeo, I believe.
Armeo. You go into that week and you're almost about to be out of playoffs. Why not go pick up Spica and Licorice?
Because speaking of Licorice want fuck all to do with you. Like I know we
Yes.
talked about this in the offseason of like I think you take
Yeah, we
any
did.
chance that you can get, and I still stand by that statement. But
They don't.
the thing is, I don't know. We'll see.
Mhm.
We have to see what I think that's going to be the period where like people are willing to make changes. Because if you drop out there, you don't play another game until June.
Yeah. And where would they go? Like, where would Licorice and Spica go? Is my other thing. Where are they? Are they hoping that Shopify wants them? Because Shopify already has a backup jungler.
Yeah.
They don't need Spica. I
No.
guess Licorice is hoping to replace him. But I think Immortals should be trying to get Spica at least.
I'll be honest, if I'm
But
Spica
Spica's
or
falling off,
Licorice,
I guess.
I'm looking at those 10 LEC teams saying, "Let me at them.
Yeah,
Give me a chance. Give me KCorp. Like put
yeah.
me in on KCorp.
Oh, that's a good. Hey, you've walked us right into it.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, the last one. How is KCorp getting away with this?
They're not. They
How are they?
suck
No, how are they pulling out 160K, 175 viewers
because that's grassroots fandom at its
on
core.
this?
That
It's
fucking
crazy, dude.
that whatever executives that exist in Riot or the team side do not understand or comprehend that
Mhm.
we need grassroots fandom at a local level like that.
We
And if
do.
it's not there, you can't complain that it's not there. You have to be the one to take initiative and go and fucking build it yourself.
Yeah.
Kometo understood that there was French fandom to be taken and harnessed. And he embraced it to the fullest in all its good sides and bad sides and built something incredible. Now,
Mhm.
I know it's not as simple as just parking up in New York City and saying, hey, we're New York's team. That's not how that shit works in America. You can't, and it's not how it worked in France either. Like, Kometo didn't just be like, hey, I'm the team of the French. Cool, we're here. Congrats.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he built up a brand. Like, he showed loyalty to that area for a long period of time.
Hmm.
If, like, that was my biggest gripe with CLG coming in. Like, you're owned by Madison Square Garden. You invested fuck all into trying to develop the league scene here at a local level. You did nothing. So if you want to do that here in America, that is like, it is ripe for the taking in any of
It
the
is.
top 5 major cities that are not Los Angeles in the US. Chicago could do it. New York could do it. Houston could do it. Atlanta could do it. Boston might be able to do it. Philly could probably do it. Invest
It
in
is.
those scenes and it will pay back tenfold. I promise. So
As
KCorp is now able to pull in this viewership because they've done that. And it's sad that they're limited to 200 people in that stadium because I want to know when their stadium gets filled or like when it gets built, what the watch parties are going to be like there because they will outsell the LEC stadium every single day.
yeah, they will. I mean, yeah, that's just facts. And it makes you wonder, like, is there a way in an ACL team because they're remote now, right?
Yep.
I wonder if there's any way teams could convince each other to do like our team is in New York and that's where we'll play. If we end up winning enough, we'll fly out to wherever it is to play finals, at Riot Studio. But we play in a studio somewhere in front of our crowd if they'd allow that.
OS would allow it. I'm telling you right now, they love that.
They would.
Yeah. The place that we host our watch parties, they would love that. Assuming they
Yeah.
had like the space and capacity because like they're busy. I mean, Brookland would also love it as well. But it's like it would, but I don't know if any like nobody. The problem is you needed to invest in that when money was at its peak 4 or 5 years
True.
ago. You're now at the point where like I highly doubt teams are going to want to just say, hey, you know, we got $20,000 burning a hole in our pocket right now. Let's throw it at local tournaments and investing in like the local scene because like
Yeah.
obviously we have that money to blow right now, so we can do
Yeah.
that. Like that time has passed. So now I
It's
don't think
true.
you're going to see anybody invest in it unless it's at the LCS level, and even then, it's like it's so hard when your team plays in LA. The reason why KCorp was able to work in the way that it did was because they did play locally and built up their team to the point where it then could get into the LEC. You
Yeah.
need, like, I think you're right. You need a amateur team based out of New York that is willing to like fully invest in the New York scene. And you
Mhm.
just need somebody with like a rich dad that's willing to say, hey, here's 100K, go at it. And just
Yeah.
let them do it. And like fun watch parties, events, apparel, everything. Like you're gonna operate at a loss, and you know that. But the whole intent is to operate at a loss for 2 to 3 years, but build up a fan base so strong that it forces Riot's hand that they want you in the LCS. That's
Yeah.
exactly what KCorp did.
And I mean, the Cincinnati Fear, somebody could sponsor a team like them that's non-Cincinnati,
But how
And
here? Okay, perfect example of that though. How many Cincinnati Fear fans do you know?
none, none. Do you know some?
No, I don't know a single one.
Oh,
And I
okay.
don't has have this is a question that maybe chat might be able to answer. Have the Cincinnati Fear done anything for the city of Cincinnati other than just representing their team and name? I'm not saying that they haven't, to be clear. I'm genuinely asking.
Yeah.
Have they done anything to develop the Cincinnati esports scene at a local level and build fans? Have they played games in front of fans? Have they gone to colleges? Have they done anything to promote the LoL esports scene in that area?
I mean, that's the thing. I have no idea. And realistically, though, I feel like in America, the easiest way to do it would be renting out probably a high school gym.
Yeah.
Like, you rent it out, you set up chairs. It's going to take work, but as you build a fan base, there are going to be people who just want to show up and maybe for like minimum wage would help you set up chairs,
Yep.
stuff like that, and be a part of it. And I mean, we've already said it time and time again, like it's gonna cost money. People don't want to spend money right now, blah blah blah. But That's the only way you get what KCorp has.
Yeah.
Like, they only did this by slow building and slow grinding a local, very intense fan base.
Yep.
And I know that fan base pisses a lot of people off. It makes a lot of people angry how intense they are. They don't care about the league, which I think is okay if you want to make a fan base that truly just loves their team and loves the sport in that way.
Yep.
That's just how it is. I mean, if you hate that, then you're probably never going to see the LCS succeed.
Yep. Because
Because
that's what we need.
unfortunately, yeah, in sports and esports, you like the common fan cannot be a fan of every team.
Yeah.
That's just not how it works in sports.
Just look at the amount of people that pay for NFL Red Zone versus like
Yeah.
going out to watch their team. The
Yeah.
NFL Red Zone like is a very dedicated and diehard and loud minority of NFL fans. But it's not the 22 million or 15 million people that are tuning in to watch the primetime game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're dealing with here.
Yeah.
And like that actually segues fantastically into a point that I want to talk about, which is the LCS viewership. Did you see the numbers on it?
No, I haven't seen actual specifics.
191,000 peak, which is higher
Okay.
than it was last spring. But average concurrent viewership is still down from last year. It's up from summer, obviously. Like summer is always
It was
lower than
bad as
spring.
bad, yeah.
But the important part is Silao or chat might need to correct me on that. The Portuguese streamer that watches LCS that then went on to co-stream the he watches CBLOL. He went on to co-stream the LCS. When he tuned in to the NRG C9 match, which is our peak viewership, he had 60,000 people watching him that were just coming from CBLOL. Within 20 minutes and by the end of the game, he was down to 20,000. 40,000 people left whenever he swapped over to the LCS because they don't care.
Yikes. Yikes.
So that's like Monty said this, and I want to give full credit to him for being probably the loudest proponent of this other than me. You gotta do something drastic to change this, because small things like, reducing time between games and, these smaller changes to broadcast, like being down to 8 teams, like that's not, you're still band-aiding over a bullet wound. And you, at least for me, in my eyes, you got to get it out to New York. You got to move the LCS out of just LA. You have to at this point. You need something drastic to change this up, because we are still on that downward trend. Now, granted, the things that changed, like this split, I think could lead to some positive, I think they can neutralize the downfall. I think they can stop it from spiraling any further as we retain the viewers that we have right now, which is good. But if you want it to grow, you got to do something drastic.
Yeah. It's going to be super hard for them because right now they're trapped in the sunken cost fallacy.
Yep.
Like, you can tell it's just completely trapped whenever you talk to people about LCS, that there's anywhere else they could go other than just keep doing what they've been doing. And I know they're trying some things different, but at face value, like co-streaming and doing it out of LA isn't really different. Like, it's kind of different. They've made tweaks to the broadcast time. They've made it quicker. We've taken 2 teams out, which I wouldn't really say is a positive. And we've done all that. So kind of makes you go like, oh man, what else do you do? No, moving it to NYC is not a short-term play. It's a long-term grind. Like, honestly, if we're talking most optimally, the place you'd probably want to put them is like Chicago-ish. Like, if you're talking most people that can get to them as quickly as possible, New York City, though, puts them within driving distance of a lot of the East Coast.
Yes.
and it keeps them in a region where there's already a lot of people naturally. That's what makes New York City so
And
kind of
to be clear,
interesting.
if I had my choice, we'd have 6 teams on the West Coast, 6 teams on the East Coast.
Yeah,
And you'd be
true.
able to develop regional fans, and that would create rivalries that would actually encourage people to watch more online as well, because you want to keep up with the West Coast teams while still showing up in person as much as you can for the East Coast teams. And
Yeah,
like it is not a short-term play. I'm sorry, but I don't give a fuck about short-term impacts anymore to the league, because if you're worrying about the short term, you're destined to fail in the long term at this point.
yeah,
At least that's my perspective on it. Everything that they're doing right now are short-term fixes. Reducing the broadcast time, or time between games, short-term thing. Has no impact long-term on the league, because every other region is eventually just going to copy that and do it elsewhere. So then what unique advantage do you have there? Live patch, short-term fix, because every other region can simply copy that and
Mhm.
do it as well. You're not doing something that creates a unique product that encourages North American fans to watch the LCS over watching the LCK, LEC, or LPL. The only way you do that is if you make a drastic change. But the comment responded, but the runway doesn't seem like it
Yeah.
will last long enough for anything 2 to 3 years out. You have to try. Would you rather just like go out like
Yeah.
doing nothing? Like, would you rather like just bleed out slowly, or at least take a chance on something that could save you and possibly die out quicker in the process? Sure, I'm not
Yeah, yeah.
eliminating that from happening, but at least then you gave it a chance. I'd rather that than staying there and watch myself slowly die.
Yeah, because honestly, like, what he's saying is true. Like, runway length isn't going to be very long. Uh, there really a plan for it to help short term? No, but there is no other way to help short term other than magically some co-streamer fixing it, which just doesn't seem like it's gonna work.
Well, Arsh brought that up. He's like, we need a North American cage roll. We have
I
North
just don't know
America.
where.
We have North American cage rolls, and it's not working.
Yeah, double up sneaky in them.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
literally all retired pro players that
yeah.
have just as equal of a voice as Cadril does. But you know what? They don't have that level of dedication and fandom that shines through. Like
Well,
I know
yeah,
that Medios is like a Cloud9 fan,
yeah.
but that's not as apparent in his content. Cadril, like when you're watching him, you know that it's going to be entertaining, not just in like the, oh, I'm a big fan of Medios already, it's going to be entertaining because I like Medios. Cadrill's stream is genuinely entertaining whether you know him or not. He's breaking
Yeah.
down drafts in a way that most other co-streamers were not at the time other than LS. He understands the fandom side of it that just others simply don't get. What you just look at all of his Weibo stuff.
Mhm.
Closest for NA is Dom? No, Dom cannot be it. Dom prefers the LPL over the LCS and is very bluntly clear about that. He might love North America, and I'm not taking that away from him at all because I know he does, and I know he wants to see us succeed. But I don't think he like if you told him, "Hey, you have to stop watching the LPL and invest all of your free time into doing something that helps North America grow." I don't think he would do it.
I mean, in general, the Dom double lift sneaky group is kind of not really sneaky's fault too much, but also in some ways with his memeing, like kind of put us here where and LS where everyone just thinks it sucks. Like, I mean, a lot of them spent a lot of time saying this guy sucks. Why is he in the league? And it kind of made in a such a like depressing league to watch that I watched a lot of people just quit watching
Oh yeah.
because and a lot of people who've quit watching, I will say this, were people I knew who watched a lot of LS co-streams. Like a lot of those people have quit very, very quickly as LS has. Like they were just riding with him and all listened to him so dieheartedly and listened to every opinion he had to the point where like they just kind of quit watching. Which I'm not trying to say that to hate on him or anything. It's just kind of how it is. Like you do enough to constantly pump out that a league sucks, and that it's not doing well enough. Well, eventually it just kind of flops out, and then you can tell like a lot of people weren't able to protect, I guess, LCS the way CBLOL protected themselves, like international failure.
Yeah.
LCS just kind of like saw the pressure coming and then crumbled under it, and it seems like CBLOL was able to just take the pressure and go, nope, we're just gonna keep growing.
Well,
yeah. The fans were like, "Why do we suck internationally?" And they went,
like
doesn't matter.
Who fucking cares? Fuck them flamingos.
Yeah. They were like, who cares? And in NA, we were like, why do we suck internationally? And I also didn't help. I will say this, the owners of NA did not help either.
Oh,
probably Steve, Jack, and Reggie. Like, Reggie being the main dude of this, of constantly going, if we aren't winning, international titles, then it's all worthless, and this is all worthless.
Yeah.
Like, constantly dumping on the titles you have at home.
Yeah.
For the title. Like, you want, what is it, that meme? I want the title at the store or whatever. Well, we have titles at home. Well, if you keep doing that with your titles at home, eventually all the people at home go, I guess they don't matter. So they quit watching.
It either goes one or two ways. They either don't matter at all or they mean everything.
Yeah.
And for CBLOL, they mean everything. For us, they mean like I already heard it today in some of the shows. Like, will Cloud9 perform internationally? It's like, bro, don't. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. I do. Wangers in chat said, do people on the East Coast just not watch or care about League because the leagues and teams are all LA localized? No, but it has a pretty significant impact. We care a lot on the East Coast about contribution to like your local area around you. We value a lot being able to go to something in person.
Yeah.
I think most people do. Like, I think we take that for granted a lot.
The Rust Belt?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. It's a psycho place of, like, where I grew up is the best. Like, that's basically the Rust Belt.
East Coast people still watch it a lot. But I'm saying, like, it's not the problem that I think people need to get out of the habit of is, like, they don't watch League because they don't know about it because it's not relevant in their life. And while, yes, we'd like to think that just because something's popular on the internet, it means that everybody knows about it, that doesn't translate. At least speaking for New York, like, if there's something that's, like, popular locally here, word of mouth is the number one thing that spreads.
Yeah.
Word of mouth means more than anything. And, like, the ability to go to something and take your friends to it is massively important. The social element of this is, like, it's why college football is so big. It's why college basketball is so big. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously we like the sports, but we like being able to go in person and cheer our teams on. And, like, know that, like, that's my team here. And, like, I can physically see them and interact with them. Like, that is important to so many people on this. Like, I'm sure it's important on the West Coast as well, but, like, the people out in LA, I don't think, like, I just think, honestly, they're in a very privileged position.
Well, they're known fair weather fans.
Well, yeah, West Coast in general, definitely fair weather fans because fair weather people. But, like,
sure.
You don't get that level of dedication and diehardness that exists in the East Coast at all.
Yeah. Like, it's not even well, it's just kind of how it is with the West Coast. They are very fair weathery. I mean, the joke about SoFi Stadium is that there has never been a bigger crowd for the Rams or the Chargers than there has been for the opposing team.
Yeah,
outside of, like,
49ers,
teams that are defeated.
It was a home game.
Yeah, it was a home game. For the Steelers, it was a home game.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Pittsburgh traveled better than
Steelers and the Cowboys are the two best traveling teams in the world.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, you're telling me a Midwest team got there. Well, I guess Pennsylvania isn't really Midwest. Well, it is. It's Midwest.
Pittsburgh is kind of part of that Midwest belt.
Yeah. They got out there. It's like, dude, I think East Coast is a bit more show-uppy I think they'll show up to things and they'll pack out an event, and that's just how it is. Now, granted, their logic was, well, Raleigh didn't do great, and it's like, dude, you literally looked at an East Coast map and went, let's pick the worst city that we can find on here for an esports event, and they selected Raleigh. It's like, I get Raleigh didn't work out. You had Atlanta right there.
Nah,
You could have picked
even
Florida,
then,
maybe.
I don't blame Raleigh at all. Even though
Yeah,
Easter Sunday was a big fucking problem. I agree with
true.
that.
Southern Baptist Cook.
You didn't go out to the points that were most important in Carolina, which is the schools.
True.
I mean, we've touched on it a billion times. I know we touched on it with like Andy Miller and the
You have the triangle right there.
You've got the triangle. You've got NC State, Duke, Wake Forest, ECU. What one am I forgetting? UNC. I didn't say UNC.
Yeah, you didn't say the most important one.
You have all of them. They didn't go to a single fucking college campus to spread awareness for this.
No.
All of them are within a 3-hour drive of there, and I guarantee you fucking maybe a tenth of the college kids there knew that there was an LCS event going on nearby. And I guarantee half of them have played League. And they would go if they knew about it and tickets were decently cheap.
And we support drinking responsibly.
Oh my!
So get a beer deal. Go to those colleges.
Here's my phrase. I support drinking in the Jason Kelsey way. That's gonna be my new motto. If you could jump out a window in 0 degrees with Tim's and land on your feet and not bust your ass, you're still fine. You're doing good.
You're telling me that you couldn't get Franklin Street absolutely pumping for some random esports event? I'm sure they would.
College kids will show up for fucking anything. If you tell them that there's gonna be a rowdy crowd, a little bit of a party, and like throw an after party, get like some artist to like show up or something.
And Cloud9 was there, right?
Yeah.
Dude, you just take a jersey, you slap Carolina 9 on it, you don't tell them what it means, they'll show up.
Oh, dude,
there's psycho fans out there, dude.
But yeah, we are not activating the East Coast whatsoever.
No, and that's going to be the killer of it, because you and I have talked about it forever. We've shown maps on here of where all the population hotspots are. It just is what it is. Like, they've just stuck with this place, and it's not like it's Europe, right? Where LEC, they pick Germany, which some people don't love, but Germany, you can still get there relatively easy from everyone we've talked to in Europe on this podcast. They've said it's fairly easy for them to get to Berlin. And one guy showed me it was like $35 to get there.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, dude. And he traveled over 3 countries. And I was like, whatever.
And for us on the East Coast, it's a fucking $1,000 round trip to get out to LA, let alone getting a car, let alone lodging. Like, it makes no sense unless you're lumping it in with a vacation to go out there.
Yeah.
Do you understand how diehard of a LCS fan you have to be to ever see the LCS in regular season?
Yeah.
You have to be
you'd have to be crazy.
The most diehard of diehard. I'm a bigger LoL esports fan than most people you probably know. And I'm publicly telling you that I'm not going out there unless somebody covers my shit. Because I can't take $1,000 hit to go watch two best of ones for my favorite team like that.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think we could get what he said in chat. Paragon said if we get tier 2 style on the East Coast the way Casey got it, they could. It would be doable. The problem is it would be easiest through college.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the college scene, I don't know, there's a lot of drama in there with tourneys and stuff. I don't know what's going on, but it is a huge blunder. Honestly, a failure that schools like Michigan, IU, Carolina don't have programs. That's crazy.
Yep.
You should have some sort of program in those big schools. You know how hard a Michigan and Ohio State rivalry on the Rift could go? It'd be psycho. But the issue is it would be college, so you'd have to be going to school. So that's what makes it impossible. It'd be better, honestly, if they just did regional rivalries and
Oh,
had teams
100%.
so you
Like
could keep the guys.
it
But
absolutely like what I would like to see is like
that is our Spain, France,
it
Ohio
it
State,
is.
Michigan, Carolina, and Duke.
Well,
That is,
Alabama, Auburn, but I don't think they got the hands
yeah,
down there to play league. Uh,
Georgia, Florida. Not fun for you, but great for me.
fuck you. Fuck you, bro.
Thank you for ETN. We'll put him to work. Don't worry.
I can't wait till the LCS
Hey,
one
he'll be
day.
in Jacksonville.
I can't wait till the LCS one day comes to New York, and I'm gonna intentionally make you live on the street rather than on my couch for the time that it's there, just for fucking saying that. Oh
But
god,
that's what makes college so good.
it does.
That's what
It's why
makes it
it's
so
so good. Oh man, is there anything else that we missed that we want to talk about?
No, I mean we've hit every topic I thought of, and we went for a pretty good amount of time.
We did.
It's really just like Alabama, Florida State.
I'm a Florida Gators fan, so fuck both of them. Like both of them
Yeah,
can honestly go just fall off of flat Earth.
I hate them both.
I
All I know is Carolina is ranked third in the country right now in college basketball.
and how
I'm
you
not
get
saying
and how you gonna do in the tournament? You're gonna choke in the Elite Eight as you do every time.
we have the most Final Fours of any team.
When was the last
Not the
time you
most
won?
titles, though. 2017, that's not even that long ago.
Okay, so that's 7 years ago. When was the last time? What rank is UConn right now?
Oh, UConn's a bunch of posers. They think
Who's the
they're blue
defending
blood
national champions?
posers.
Our NRG posers.
No, because I like them. That's just how it is.
Case in point. Case in point. I don't think I have to say any more than that.
We got something cooking for UConn. That's all I'm gonna say.
Sure, you got an L. That's about
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Yeah, if you take the L and maybe flip it and add another, well, maybe just turn it. It's called W, son.
Oh Jesus Christ. Real quick, I do want to get your predictions for this weekend. Chiefs, Ravens, 49ers, Detroit.
Simply because I hate Patrick Mahomes, I'm gonna go Ravens.
Oh.
And also, the Ravens just have a better defense. Right now, Lamar is playing like the best QB alive. And then I hate to say this, I really do because I hate that conspiracy theory about the colors.
Yep.
And I do love the Lions, but the Niners are playing unbelievable football, bro. And Brock Purdy, as much.
Whoa, dude, they nearly lost to the Packers. Had fucking Drew Love not pulled out
Okay,
his
I
inner Brett
get.
Favre.
Yeah, whatever. But I mean, you can't really hate on them though. Like they survived a tough game. They
I'm not.
played a hungry team.
I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying. I agree. I think the 49ers beat the Lions. I would love to see the Lions upset them. I don't see it happening. Ravens are not going to the Super Bowl. They're not. They're not winning this
Maybe
game.
if they bring those officials.
They
from
are.
last week, yeah,
They are. To be clear,
they are. That's
the
good.
the officiating crew is like the most friendly towards the away crew,
Yeah,
in
that's
NFL
good.
history.
That's good.
I think the Chiefs beat the Ravens.
Rico just got timed out. What did he say?
I don't even know. I I was hoping somebody was gonna say it. I'm glad Nas did. He took the bait. I want Taylor Swift shown every fucking minute of this game. I want her and Travis Kelce all over all of this, and I cannot wait for the Ravens to choke. And again, context. I'm from a Pittsburgh family. If there's anybody that knows the Ravens more in this chat, it's fucking me. And I'm telling you, they're gonna choke. They're not winning this game. The Chiefs are winning it. They're going to the Super Bowl. I'm even going to be willing to say that they win by 10.
10 against the Ravens.
Against the Ravens, the Chiefs are going to win by 10.
You'll spot me 10 points.
I'm not betting you shit. I don't have any money to
Dang
bet right
it.
now. But
Dang it. I was going to try to get that NRG jersey for free.
how about this? Ravens win. I will put out a public post like pleading with NRG to give you a jersey.
No, I don't want to beg him. No. I don't want to beg him.
Think of
I
any
don't beg people.
think of any sort of bet that we can make it. We got two rivalry matches this weekend. We got NRG versus 100 Thieves, and we got Ravens Chiefs, where I'm fully on the Chiefs train.
Yeah. So what if one of our teams sweeps? Like both. Like let's say Ravens and NRG both win. We do something.
Yeah.
What should we do? Another apology, maybe? We've done an apology.
I say we do a TikTok punishment bet.
I don't have TikTok. I can't just I gotta just make one for that.
It'd be so funny. Have you seen like the fantasy football ones where like you have to post a
Yes.
video until it hits a certain mark?
Yeah.
I said, I feel like that'd be fun.
Trying to think. Because I'm not gonna download TikTok for that.
Fine. You and Captain Flowers both.
Sorry.
Did you see that Taco Bell video that I tweeted out, by the way?
No. What was it?
All right, we'll watch this to close the podcast. I will cut it off here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If we find a bet, I will tweet it out on Twitter or
Okay.
X or whatever it's called. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one. I will